Hello and welcome to the Half-Ass Homestead. My name is Angie and this is our 4th annual sausage making weekend. If you know, you know. If you have your venison processed or anything for that matter, it can be very expensive. If you're getting sausage, jerky, and snack sticks made, upwards of $7 to $10 a pound depending on where you're at. Some areas are a little bit cheaper, but here, if you want to get 100 pounds of meat processed, it's going to cost you about $1,000. And I'm going to be frank with you, we do not have that. And we can do a really good job right here on the homestead by ourselves. This year, we are going to show you what goes into processing 1 year worth of meat from start to finish. Normally in these videos, I put like footage together, but that's not realistic. We are working in layers upon layers. We started out the weekend by slicing up some meat for muscle meat jerky, and this is the first year for sausage making weekend we are doing this. We were blessed with an additional roadkill, which provided an extra 10 pounds of meat that we didn't otherwise have a plan for, and I am so thankful for that. We are doing peppered jerky and teriyaki. Now this teriyaki is a homemade seasoning. It is super fantastic. It's very good. It's sweet. It's super gingery. So if that's what you're into. Here's just kind of like a look at the meat that we are going to have to grind and how much there actually is. This is the sheer volume of just 100 pounds. And we are going to actually be processing with my sister this year. So that's an additional 80 pounds that we're going to have to process. The first hot tip in sausage making is efficiency. So we like to do something all at once. So grinding all of the meat all at once saves the additional setup, tear down, and clean up. The second hot tip for sausage making is how you grind your meat. We grind our meat with the coarse plate, and we like to grind it where it's still slightly frozen. Once we pass the meat through the grinder the first time, we are going to pass it through a second time, and this is going to offer a better texture for our snack sticks, sausage, and jerky, etc. One downside to processing slightly frozen meat is that you have to cut it when it's still slightly frozen, which makes it a lot more difficult. In this case, while we were waiting for the grinder, because it's overheated, I am just slicing up some nice slabs of like 1.5 1.25 inch thick pork shoulder, and we are going to use this for cottage bacon. So it's going to stay in slabs. I'm just working on getting a proper weight for that. When you are processing, you are going to need a food scale. They're pretty inexpensive. I would say probably $50 or less. And you have a nice scale that can weigh up to 10 pounds of food. Another hot tip for how we like to grind our meat. We start off with venison because it can be eaten raw. And then we move to pork because that would then need to be cooked to 145 degrees. Preventing cross-contamination is super important. Keeping your hands, your surfaces, and all of your equipment clean is absolutely crucial. We started off our Saturday morning with some sharp knives. Thanks to Andy and his knife sharpener. My sister brought her Cabela's industrial meat grinder. This thing chews through meat quicker than you can cut it up, I swear. It's a lot more efficient than ours. While we worked on grinding the rest of the meat, Andy worked on filling the dehydrator with the muscle meat jerky. It has been in the marinade for somewhere between 16 and 24 hours. While Andy works on this jerky, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, gee, all of this equipment is really expensive. It is. And I agree. but it's taken years to collect the equipment that we have. Some of it was even given to us because it was being thrown away. We've bought stuff off of Marketplace for really cheap, and we even borrow. I mean, borrowing is a great option. If you have a group of people that want to go in on processing equipment, you can split the cost 3 ways or 4 ways or however many ways, and everybody just use that equipment when they process meat. That's another idea. Overall, I'd say if you're spending $10 a pound on processing, you can probably have all the equipment paid for in full in 2 years. But that's my take on it. But if you can be thrifty and use Marketplace and find some good steals, I'd say absolutely go for it. While the muscle meat jerky is in the dehydrator, we're going to work on the ground jerky. And this is just a seasoning packet that we use and love. I will link all the seasonings that we use and the recipes that we use down in the description below so you can duplicate them at home if you'd like. We use these American Harvest dehydrators that you can find at rummage sales for a little to nothing for our jerky. Because of the jerky cannon and the round shape of these dehydrators, it works out super fantastic. While we finish that up, my sister is working on patting up some hamburgers. She's just weighing everything out so everything is nice and uniform. We've gotten all of the dehydrators running. I believe this year we have 5 running. So those will run for 4 to 8 hours. And we'll just stop them when they're done. So my sister is pressing all of the patties, and I am trimming up some parchment paper as separation. Wax paper will freeze, so you need parchment paper to keep the burgers separate. That's if you ever want to cook them frozen. A super awesome pro tip for hamburgers is to make an indentation in the center with your thumb. That's going to allow the juices from the burger to run into the center when you're cooking them instead of rolling off the side. And only flip your burger once, because if you do, you're drying it out. It's unnecessary. While Lissy is vacuum sealing all of her burgers, I am going to fry up some deer heart with sauteed mushrooms and onions with a side of green beans. There's something about deer heart. I think it's better than backstraps, and it's super special. It's 1 meal per deer. So hate me, but I love my deer heart. I learned a few helpful tips from my sister this weekend. If you are getting the seasoning out of your measuring cup like we are, she just uses a wad of meat, and it works honestly better than a spatula. We are mixing up all of our jerky meat. So to hand mix, which is how she prefers to do it, we start out by making a bowl out of our meat and putting our seasoning in the center. Starting to work that liquid into the meat just from the center, trying not to break down the sides and get most of that meat sopping up that fluid, and then giving it a good old-fashioned mix. It is honestly quicker than the meat mixer, especially for a small batch. This is the way she prefers to do it, and honestly, I think I do too. She's down here mixing up all of her meat for sausage, and she prefers to do it in a cooler, and I'm not gonna lie, I think we might have less of a use for our meat mixer now. This is our 2nd year running snack sticks. We did honey ham sticks last year, went down without a hitch. Everything went great except for the recipe I used had absolutely no flavor. We got LEM brand casings, and all they did was bust. They were terrible. It took us 45 minutes to stuff 15 pounds of snack sticks, which is awful. Back to the borrowing, we borrowed the smoker, which may not have been the best idea. Sometimes like you have that lawnmower that only you can start. I think that might be the same for smokers. I think you really need to know your smoker because we burnt everything in the smoker, dried it right out. But that's okay. It is a lesson learned. We did all my sister's snack sticks in our smoker and they turned out phenomenal. So those are going to need to smoke for several hours. And that's why we started these relatively early. Here is some snack stick casings that we got from Indiana Butcher Supply. First, they fit on the horn and they didn't blow out every 2 seconds. So these went a heckin' lot quicker. While they are working on those snack sticks, I start getting the seasoning pressed onto our cottage bacon. We do have a recipe on that. It is one of our more popular recipes. This stuff is delicious and super cost effective. So I'm going to link that in the description below as well. And it is imperative that you use all of your seasoning for this. These are going to go sit in the fridge and need to be rotated every 24 hours for the next week. So we are lucky enough to have a fridge in the basement just for our meat processing endeavors because we do so much of it. This is something I don't normally include in my videos, but this is a real look into what we do. I didn't include all of the dishwashing resets that we do, but it feels really good to clean out the kitchen and get a good fresh start. Everything is in the smoker, doing what smokers do. Our dehydrator for the ground jerky is all finished up, and I am going to work on splitting all of this into bite-sized pieces. While I work on that, they are going to stuff sausage. The sausage stuffer ended up breaking this weekend, and it was used when we got it. Annie got it from a work buddy of his, and we've put it to use for several years. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to be able to be permanently repaired. We're going to have to buy a new one. They're not exactly cheap. They're pretty expensive to buy a nice one that's going to be able to handle what we do. This is what 15 pounds of ground jerky looks like. Yes, we eat this in a year. We do share with others, but jerky is a really super nice treat, and you can't afford to buy the stuff, so we make a lot. And vacuum sealing for days, and that's going to be a common theme. If you are going through this much work, I do highly recommend vacuum sealing your products because they're going to last longer and there is more security. Here are some snack sticks, and I'm just checking to see if they're done. These turned out absolutely beautiful. They're gorgeous. A few ends got burnt, but I guess that's kind of to be expected. But everything checks out and it's good to go. Their fix on the sausage stuffer is holding up. And we're working on like the last of the sausage here. My sister did, I think, 4-pound sticks. We do 2-pound sticks and cut them into 1-pound servings. Today is a new day, per the usual. I like to clean up all of the equipment really good right away. Last night got to be a late night, but per the usual, I'm the first one up, so I'm trying to do quiet work until somebody else wakes up. Pro tip for cleaning stainless steel: Windex or window cleaner with ammonia. 10 out of 10. Another hard reset on the kitchen and getting everything in order. The first thing Andy did was get all of our sausage on the smoker. And Liz and I are going to work on getting the snack sticks all cut into uniform size. We like to save all of the end cuts from this and mix them in with cheese cubes. And we just vacuum seal little pouches. They're like little snack stick and cheese pouches. They're a nice treat to have. and it helps keep all of the waste down. Once we're done with that, we end up going into making our breakfast sausage, which is super, super good. It is maple breakfast sausage, and it has such a good flavor. This is our favorite. And I found a recipe online. I ended up adapting it slightly to our taste, and I can share that as well. Melissa starts making bags for the breakfast sausage, and I start rinsing out the brat casings. I go over to help her while Andy starts mixing up our brat mixture, which we are doing just cheddar brats this year. And there's her dog Bird freaking out over the squirrels just outside the window. We work on packaging up our breakfast sausage into half-pound packages, which is just perfect for us for breakfast or for Andy's lunches, whatever the case may be. Circle back and start stuffing and twisting brats. And they're pretty simple, self-explanatory. We do have a video out there on brat making, so I will link that as well. The hardest part for me and my sister to do is count, because we went to a school in the Northwoods and it was called Wabino, and math is not our strong suit. So we work on packaging up all of the brats, and that was the end of the weekend. Now it's a week later, and we are finally taking care of our sausage. We accidentally shrunk them a little bit. They sat in the fridge for about a week, so they got a little wrinkly. It's not our best work. But Andy's pretty particular about making sure our sausage sticks are cut in exactly half. He will measure it every time. And I work on vacuum sealing those. And then Andy helped out packaging with our backup vacuum sealer. And once we were all done with that, Andy rinsed off the cottage bacon and got that into the smoker, which smoked all day. Once that was finally completed, we sliced it, weighed it out, and vacuum sealed it into good sized packages. And that concludes the sausage making weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for your continued support, and we will see you in the next one.